Yes, people, welcome back to the Catabolic Window podcast. We've got episode 77 for you today, and we have got a special treat. Mr. Josh Jenkins is on the podcast. So, Josh, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing very good, boys. How are the both of you?
Good, good. We haven't spoke to each other for a little while because Jack's been away, and I didn't
Mm.
want to speak to him anyway, so that was nice.
Yeah, it's a nice break.
Yeah, my my foot's all recovered, so I'm not injured, which is nice, and I can actually train properly. Well, mostly.
Hey,
What's not to live? What's not to live?
yeah, mate, back to not hobbling around. It's fucking well overdue. And me, things are good. Back from holiday. Back to the post pre prep diet. So we've got the post pre prep push up, pre actual prep. There you go.
Lots of posts,
That
lots of
hurts
pre's.
to listen to.
Exactly, mate.
Yeah,
Exactly, mate.
I'm somewhere I can't listen to like double or false negatives. So it's like when people say like, "Oh, I'm not gonna not do this" or stuff like that. I'm like, bro, that doesn't
Yeah, yeah. I
doesn't
know what you
doesn't,
mean,
doesn't doesn't work in my brain. Like you need to just tell me,
mate. When people say
Yeah,
like never,
it hurts.
people say like never not, or like with throwing a double negative, yeah, it's fucking confusing. Do you ever get like a message from a
yeah,
client come through and you're like reading it like 4 or 5 times and you're like, yeah, bro, can you just like resend this in English, please? There's fucking no way that's gone
yes.
straight over my head.
There's always a few, and then it's maybe it's I don't know. Like sometimes you even see like a message from a client, and you're like, just you answered your own question.
Oh, mate, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you ever get the 5 minute voice note where they answer their own question by the end of it and you listen to it and they're like,
yeah,
never mind at the end? You're like, oh, okay, cool.
yeah. Oh no, no, no. You know what the worst bit is? You know, if you get like a real what? To be fair, this is. I don't know how you guys wanted to start the podcast off, but this is how I'm going to start it off. What's the longest voice note you've had from a client?
Are we including if it's like several voice notes all sent together?
Oh,
No, just one. Just one.
Longest individual one, probably 4 or 5 minutes. But if we're saying several sent together, I'm saying at least 7 or 8.
I've had a this was in my first year of coaching, and it was a client I was dieting for like a photo shoot. And he would send his check-ins, but he would record them on voice memo, not on WhatsApp. So when he would actually send it through, you can't go into 1.5 or 2 times speed, and it was 14 minutes long.
oh,
And he was
mate.
and he was checking in 3 times per week at this point.
Oh.
And I'm just like, hey, I spoke to you yesterday.
Wow,
Mate,
that's
that's
a lot. Yeah.
painful. That's
And then
painful.
he goes at the end, feel free to speed this up. Cheers, bro. Good time at the time.
What was he even talking about for 14 minutes?
Uh, I don't know.
Was it a
Yeah,
successful
it's
shoot
just
though?
yes and no. It was just a case where I don't think he would listen to this, but he probably didn't need to diet. So it was one of those where it's like you don't need to diet really.
Hmm.
Just wanted to do a photo shoot. It was just completely his idea. He signed up and wanted to do this photo shoot. In my opinion, didn't really need to. And then also his starting position was very low food anyway. So it was just a decent length of time, not massive, like 8 to 10 weeks or so, where food was pretty low, expenditure was pretty high, and there was just not much room to give with stuff. Like ideally, if you want to be making changes, you want to be pulling around, say, the odd 100, 200 calories. We didn't even have that ability to without just
Yeah.
dying off. But we got the job done eventually.
Fair enough, mate.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like at the end of the day, what have you been hired to do? It might not be the most ideal scenario, but
Yeah,
they've asked you to help them get pretty lean. Like I had this. I don't know if you saw my post the other day. I did a post about how like okay, if you want to get pretty damn lean, expect for your dick not to work type of thing. And I had some geezer comment on it like you should never go below this calorie amount. And I'm like, well, what if you're like 70-year-old Dorothy who does 5,000 steps around the garden, weighs
exactly,
120 pounds? Like
exactly.
it's not quite the same thing. And the reality is that some people do just have to push really hard, and it
Yeah, it's
sucks.
it,
Yeah.
It's true.
yeah, it sucks, but it's I think when people say you don't have to like say if it's like a competition prep and people say you don't have to go below 1,000 calories, there's no difference between 1001, 1001, and 999, aside from just the odd calorie. The second you drop below 1,000 calories, it's not magic. It's not where you're like you're absolutely fucked. You're probably going to feel pretty fucked on 1,100 calories anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just like a selling point for people. So like, oh, I can go to this coach, my food won't get that low. But then okay, cool, but you won't be lean. So would you rather?
Yeah, that, or they're giving you like 2 hours of cardio a day, and you're like, yeah, I eat 1,000 calories. I never eat less than 1,000 calories, and it's like, yeah, but you're on 200 milligrams of Clen, and you're doing an hour of cardio every hour.
200 milligrams.
Is that it?
Not even micrograms.
rookie
Yeah, bro.
Milligrams.
Sorry, did I
Pop those
stutter?
numbers up.
Did I stutter? Sorry, bro. I thought we were getting people lean here. Come on.
Oh my god.
Have you read? My mate, other Luke, not this Luke. He sent me a study. I forget the exact number it was, but it was they were trying to run Clen as high as possible to see what the like negative side effects were, and I think they got it to like 2 milligrams of Clen per day, and they titrated over the course of like 18 months, and they saw very, very little issues in terms of heart health from that, which is a very, very interesting study, and one that I really don't fucking believe. But there you go.
That's mad.
Look out for that.
Yeah, because like the most I've ever taken is 100 mcg, and that was obviously titrated up from 40. And I think when it is obviously slowly titrated up, you don't really feel it as much. But I remember when I started a diet I started a mini cut in back end of May, and Tim was like, yeah, we'll be on 80 mcg of Clen, 40 milligrams of Himbine. And that was what I was on prep last year. But obviously I forgot that was titrated up from, I think, maybe even started on 20 for me, but let's say 40 and 10. But obviously that was titrated up over time. But I was like, oh, sound, I was absolutely fine on it. And this is me, like peak off season, starting a diet, put 80 mcg of Clen. I'm literally just like, I can't move. I'm like, oh my god. So I had to pull down for a few days, went back up. We finished it on like 100 and 100 mcg Clen. I was like, I'm absolutely fine. But it's, again, I think it depends. But then 2 grams, was it 2 grams? Like 2 milligrams.
Yeah, 2 milligrams.
Of Clen. Yeah, you're going to feel fucking awful.
Yeah.
And your heart's probably not going to be in the best position.
Yeah. I can't imagine that you would be on, 2,000 microgram there. Jesus.
Yeah, to be fair, what they probably didn't say is that they were also supplementing with a whole tub of telmisartan. Just every day.
Like,
what's your first meal? 2 milligrams of Clen and just a whole tub of telmisartan and just hoping for the best.
So,
with a wish.
Literally.
Mate, touching on the recent mini cut that you did, how did you find that?
Yes.
What was the kind of goal? Was that just to resensitize yourself, get a bit leaner?
Yeah, like it was. I probably could have pushed for a bit longer, but May, as I have just touched upon briefly on Instagram, obviously people who are like know me a bit more, was a very hectic, busy month when it wasn't supposed to be hectic and busy. It was just, especially towards the back end, a lot of stuff went on. And when you boys probably know, anyone probably knows, when you're peak off season and there's any sense of stress, appetite just goes bang. So it's a case where if I was to keep pushing, we probably could have pushed for another 4 weeks with how the cycle design was sort of set up. We probably had another 4 weeks within that. Food wasn't even that high relative to me. Like I've had my food so much higher. But appetite was horrendous. And obviously then I signed up with Tim and we were just like, right, do you want to just get ahead of this mini cut? Do 6 to 8 weeks, because that'll always then put us in a position where we can think, right, let's see how lean we can get in 6 to 8 weeks. That's then going to put us in a position where we can even start estimating stage rate for next year with obviously all the new tissue I've added since last year, and then obviously more tissue, which is quite cool. I think like we pulled off the initial like 10 to 15 pound pretty easily, and then after that it was like 5 or 6, but I think went from like 220 pound, so like 100 kilos down to like 92 kilos, so like 200 pounds ish, and like the visuals were pretty sound, and it was just genuinely pretty easy. But it was the first diet I've done for like a very long time where there's not been an actual reason for it. So I dieted in 2022, and that was like a holiday. That was really like easy. But it's like when you have a goal, you're like, oh, Stan, I don't care. Like I was on 0 carb for like 2 weeks before that, but I didn't care because I was going on a lad's holiday. Then obviously it was prep last year, so it was a bit weird. I was almost like, I remember like saying to Tim, I was like, just go on 0 carb for the whole thing and just get it done in 3 weeks. I just don't care. Like I'm not dieting, but it's boring. I was like, I'd much rather just get this done. And then it got to like mid-July and I was like, fucking thank God it's done, man. So I'm just like, it's so boring. I just want to get back to eating. I want to get back to being strong. It's fun.
Mate, I found a
It's
similar
even like,
thing on the back end of my last like pre-prep diet, because when I was checking in with Tom, I was like, okay, what's the timeline here? What's the goal? And he was like, well, we'll just
yeah,
see. We'll just, he was like,
yeah,
you'll send your shots, we'll look at it and we'll go, you're done. And so it's like, I was trying my hardest not to wish the diet away, but each and every week when I
yeah,
send my check in, I'm like, I hope today's the fucking week where it's just
yeah.
done.
Yeah, it gets to a point where like with any sort of like tidy up or mini cut phase, like they're so productive, and the better you treat it, the more you treat it like a prep, the better you set yourself up. But they are the most boring phase to be in,
Yep, agreed.
because you can obviously, if you're not, in my opinion, if you're not prepping or something, you can have flexibility. You can still go for an off-plan meal. You can just take food away, because the goal is just to get lean, but there's no time frame on it. But then also, because they're so boring, you just want to be aggressive. You don't want to be like,
Yeah,
because
literally.
otherwise it gets to a point where you're like, fucking, yeah, you're just stuck in the same position for ages. Which I do see a lot of. You boys both have the same thing as well when it comes to people that you coach. Like obviously you want to allow flexibility, but then sometimes that almost works a negative, because yes, they enjoy it more, but that phase just takes so much longer.
Yeah.
When for the like the 99% of us, unless you're fucking Samson, you need more tissue. You need to be growing. You don't want to be spending much time. So it's almost like trying to find that fine line between, if you're in a mini cut, having flexibility, and then also just being aggressive with things. In this mini cut I just chose, have zero flexibility, just die. I
Yeah.
say die, I was still on my 300 carb at the end.
Oh, you lucky fuck. Mate, I died in my pre-prep. I absolutely died. Mate, the push that I had to do was ridiculous. But
Yeah.
speaking of your previous diet, and kind of, you said that you changed over to Tim. How are you finding
Yes.
being coached by Tim? Have you only ever been coached by the two coaches, by Reese and Tim? Have you had any others?
Yes. So yeah, so I signed up with Reese in 2021,
Hmm.
like towards the back end of that like last lockdown. And that was when I was literally like, I wasn't in bodybuilding at all. It was a case where I just wanted to just look a bit better, like for just being an 18-year-old. But then obviously Reese did his prep. I started chatting to his clients more, went to a few of his shows, and I was like, this is actually really cool. And it's something I've always like, I was like, this is something which I could see myself doing. I like tracking my food. I like training really well. I wouldn't mind competing, something I'd like to get into. And I kind of just fell in love with taking it so much more seriously from then. And obviously stayed with Reese through prep last year. And then it got to, obviously he brought me on board as a co-coach for a little bit as well, for about 2 years. And then it got to around like May this year. And I was like, right, I think it's time for a change, in terms of business, in terms of who I'm being coached by. And that was the main reason that, well, not main reason, but one of the reasons why I also just left Reese as a client, was just because I was like, right, well, I'm going out on my own in terms of coaching. All I've ever known is how Reese coaches me, and everyone's going to do things a bit differently. I want to get someone else's opinion. So now the way that I coach is a blend of something I find works well, something I've learned from Tim, things I've learned from Reese, and it's almost just building up a new sort of way of doing things, and just being able to try that with different clients, what works well. I have some clients who respond better to and how I would have coached a year ago. I have clients who respond instantly so much better from how I'm coaching now, in terms of exercise setup, exercise selection, things like that, in terms of even like prescribed rep ranges. I have clients who don't get on with anything below 10 reps. I have people who get on with only 6 to 8 rep sets and things like that. And I think it's worked really well, because it's given me a different sort of avenue to look at things. And I think sometimes change is just needed. But in regards to just being a client, I kind of like it a bit more, because obviously me and Reese were really close, as you boys probably would have seen. But it was also almost a case where I feel like it was sometimes too much bouncing ideas off each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas now I'm under Tim, it's like Tim says I do, because I'm nothing but a client. And I
Mm,
quite like it, because
yep.
I'm almost like back to being like not put down, but like, you're here, you do what you're told. And I quite like it, because I'm just cracking on. Yeah, it's quite nice, and it takes that pressure off.
Mate, 100%. That's why I left my original coach, Liam, because we became very, very close friends. And the
Yeah,
more that and because we knew each other in person, like we lived in the same town. So the longer that you're coached by that person, the more, like you said, it just becomes like this kind of joint project. And that's nice for a
yeah,
time. But sometimes you get to a point where you're like, particularly with like preps, or as I got closer to competing, I was like, right, I don't want to be in a prep situation where we're bouncing ideas every single check-in. Like,
it doesn't really work. Like, don't get me wrong, me and Tim will still bounce ideas off each other. Like, he's got that respect for me in the sense of like he knows that I know how to train. So if it's a case where like I remember, like if it's like an RDL set where he said 7 to 11, something like that, and I'm like, well, I want to do a heavy 3-repper. He's like, okay, if your execution's absolutely fine, crack on. But I do find, like, I don't know how to word this, so I'm gonna just word it the first thing that comes into my head, but it's not how I mean it. I do find sometimes if you're too close with the person that you're coaching, or the person that's coaching you, sometimes I don't want to say you lose respect, but you lose that instant level of 100% adherence.
Yeah.
In a way, and that's not to say I've ever been slack with anything, but it's almost like, oh, it sounds.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this doesn't have to be 100%, because it's like, oh, it's that. I can check in a bit later, like 5 minutes later, things like that. But then I think those little inconsistencies, they add up, they add up. And it's sad, because I think it's obviously you want to have that coaching client relationship. I think sometimes if it gets too much towards like just being best mates, sometimes it's really nice to be, and it's fucking lovely. But then it can sometimes take away from what the actual goal is, and that's physique development.
Yeah, you want that rapport as a coach and a client, but you never want to get to the point where you lose that coach-client relationship. Like, even if
100%.
This is something that we all like. I'm sure we're all doing it with clients, like particularly like you know, when you first start off with a coaching business and you're like coaching your mates, and it's so hard to get them to listen to you. That's the exact reason. Is that they don't view you as a coach. They view you as like, oh, my mate Josh, my mate Luke, my mate Jack, or whatever. And you're like, no, I'm Coach Jack right now. I need you to listen to me as a coach. And yeah, I think it's particularly, I mean, I know that's why Tom stopped working with Christian, is because they were just so close and so matesy that it's like, especially when you're sharing a business together, if you're then going to be trying to kind of put yourself as a client and listen to everything that they do, it's very, very difficult to put yourself on even footing in one area and then slightly below them in another, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's one of those where, like, even like I remember I bounced an idea off Tim like about a week ago, and he said, like, obviously taking the piss, he was like, oh mate, do you want to coach yourself? And I was like, you know what, I'm so happy you've said that, because I was so used to being like, what about this, what about that? Because then with you boys, that we're not people who like don't know anything, like, so we're going to have normal sort of opinions, but I think it's also, it is quite nice to just be put in your place and be like, do this, don't think. And it is better, because as a result of things, it gives me a lot more time to focus on doing everything else, having a life, coaching, things like that. So I'm not thinking, what can I do with this meal, what can I do with that meal, what can I do with this session, that session, how can I set up my volume here? It's nice to just be, Josh, shut up, crack on.
100%.
It's just something that you've both got to stay like conscious of at the end of the day. Like, as a coach, you've got to think, right, I'll be getting a little bit too close here, type of thing. I think one of the best things you can do that is have like the clear boundaries of like, okay, this is where we communicate coaching related stuff. This is where we'll talk about random bollocks on Instagram if there's a fucking funny meme about something we're both interested in.
I find like WhatsApp, because I'm assuming you both communicate with clients through WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So I feel like WhatsApp is like where it's professional. DM me on Instagram, bro. We're gonna have the most random chat in the world. I'm a different person on there. I'm a different entity. You chat to me on there. It's Josh Jenkins, the 22-year-old child. You mess me on WhatsApp. This is me. I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. But it's weird, because I do like to, like, I chat to my clients like I chat to my mates. I go onto a check-in and I will just go through what they've been through. If they've asked for an update on me, I'll give an update on me. Sometimes I go through a check-in and I'm saying the same thing. I'm like, I should have just stitched this onto the same video. But again, I also think you need to have that boundary in terms of, this is coaching, this is friendship.
100%, mate. So kind of there's not really a good segue on this. I've wrote down some questions for you, mate, because I'm very, very organized.
That sounds far away.
But we were speaking about your previous experiences with coaching and with prep. currently, I'm sure that you've got plans to compete again. Is there anything that you've got as a specific target that you want to work on from your previous prep? Is there some constructive criticism that you're looking to kind of hone in on next time?
Not have a thigh gap would be fantastic.
Oh yeah, the adductors. You always used to joke about that on Instagram.
You know what the worst thing is? Just before just before I started this, there's a reel that's just gone off my Instagram about how to go to your adductors. But no, in terms of things, I had this question on a question box. It was like, are you a lot? It was quite similar. It was like, are you a lot more excited to prep with Tim than Reese, based off how last year went? And it's a very like pushy question towards a certain agenda, which I think a lot of people are trying to push at the moment.
Yeah.
And it was like, I basically said, I'm excited to prep under Tim, but I'd be excited to prep under Reese if he was still coaching me regardless, because there's things we would be doing differently. I think in terms of things I've learned from last prep is I started very, very soft. But again, some people respond from that. Some people respond from being a bit more aggressive in the prep. But I think for myself, it'll be a lot shorter of a prep, like 12 weeks before the first show, whenever that really is. Starting a lot leaner, allowing more time for more frequent refeed to see how my body responds. I never did a mock peak week.
Oh, okay.
So we went into a peak week and we didn't. It was kind of like we had a decent idea, but we didn't know exactly how things were going to work. So I'd like to do that. But more so, it's like I want to be a lot more like present in terms of a prep, because like, especially, well, to be fair, like even like now, like I'm spending a lot more time, like say at Tom's, I'm at Tom Taylor's now, and like seeing my mates a lot more that are outside of Cardiff, because I've got Cardiff's very small in terms of bodybuilding, so traveling up a lot more, I think that will help with the prep, with just being more sociable. But for the most part, like I'm like, there's obviously things to work upon, but there's also things in my prep which went well. Like when things weren't going well last year, I'm very proud at how I handled things, in the sense of, yes, I was very stressed out, but I still did everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's something I take into the next prep, is hopefully, touch wood, things don't go as badly towards the latter end. But in that case, if they don't go as bad, I've got more than enough confidence that everything's going to be ticked off, because I've been through a pretty shit back end of a prep, which hopefully will never happen again. So it gives me the confidence that with a pretty smooth prep, everything's going to be even better. But in terms of goals, like I'll probably compete back end of the year. Aim for like finals really within PCA. Do a few shows. I want to have a bit, like, because I should have done about 6 or 7 shows last year. So I just basically want to have a bit of a laugh, do a few shows, and just see where we fall really.
Nice. And obviously the shorts will be off next time, yeah?
Shorts will be off. I think when I eventually do like some show day videos, etc., I'll probably change the name from shorts are off to trunks are on for the YouTube.
Nice. I like that.
Cool. I thought that the other week and I was like, that's cool.
Is classic the route that you'd want to go down, or open, or because I know that you said you want to go pro?
Right. Yeah, like long term, like as much as it's very, very much long term, like I think anyone who wants to compete deep down wants to go IFBB pro. But I think sometimes they hold them back from saying it, because they're almost like, I don't want people to think I'm going to go pro now. Because I'm absolutely miles off. But long term, like that is the goal. Ideally classic. I don't really see myself going open, simply based off the fact that, like, I think outside of the gym, like peak off season, I wouldn't like how I look. I don't think I'd really like how I look on stage if I was to be a very good open bodybuilder. I think for me that's just too big. Hence why, like when I did men's physique, it was because I liked that aesthetic look. Classic is still a nice aesthetic look. Again, you can have an aesthetic open look, but like I think when you're like growing up and you look at like the people you want to look like, you think Cristiano Ronaldo, it's like a nice aesthetic look. That's almost like what every kids growing up nowadays wants to sort of look like. So it's now like I still want to have that aesthetic look, and I've always been someone who, yes, I want to compete, but I want to look good. And if there's anything I was doing, for example, when it comes to PD usage, if that was taken away from how I look visually, if that was causing skin issues, hair issues, things like that, I'd be like, well, this is actually taken away now. So that's when I'm like, I think long term, like classic really. Obviously junior bodybuilding isn't open really, so if I was to compete for May 2026, I've that's not going to be full blown. open bodybuilding. But it both like depending on when I compete, it most likely be a mix of classic and junior bodybuilding. Then after amount of juniors, it'll be just probably full send classic. Ideally, if I can keep my waist intact.
Nice, mate. Very nice.
Main thing.
Is there anything you're thinking of
Yeah.
specifically
No,
to, make sure your waist stays intact, as you say?
I think off seasons, keeping them a bit tighter. As much as like I do think there is warrant to pushing your off seasons quite harsh, especially when you're young to training. Like I think everyone needs a fat bastard off season, at least one, where you push your food stupidly, you get pretty soft, but you get pretty strong. From then, I think especially when you're in between like years of competing, you can keep things a bit tighter. That's something I found. But I think just keeping the body composition as lean as we possibly can do, so that when we do go into a prep, waist control is so much better. Because with me,
Yeah.
when I'm in an off season, my waist is like, oh my god, I'm never going to be able to do anything but open. The second I've been dieting for about 3 weeks, waist comes in, sound cool. But if we could do that without waist being not out of control, but like waist still being quite tight in an off season, it's going to be even better when in prep. It might not be smaller, but it's going to be feeling tighter. It's going to be easier to pose. It's going to be easier to vacuum, things like that.
Nice, man. I like it. So, within the next 5 or so years, where would you like to be? Let's talk business and bodybuilding, because obviously you're now a solo coach, so already making some
Okay.
moves.
So business wise, I literally want to be coaching as many people as possible. That being said, like if I was to be able to transition to strictly competition prep clients and have about say 30, 40, 50, I think that would be perfect. And just focus within that. That's not to say I don't like lifestyle because I fucking love it. It's brilliant. But with competition prep clients, this is quite exciting. Do you get what I mean? It's like as much as they might be all paying the same amount of money from a business standpoint, it makes no difference. It's the harsh reality of it, and this sounds a bit brutal. It is just more exciting to see someone prep.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think long term, that's what I want. But at the moment, like, I fucking love lifestyle. I love all my clients are absolutely golden. If I was to have the same clients now, just multiply it by 3, and it was just 3 of all of them, I'd be like, sound perfect. So like they're all wicked. And in regards to bodybuilding, I will be in 5 years. I'll be 27. So I'd like to say I'd be like either a very good amateur or touching on the pro ranks, depending on just how things sort of are. But it sort of depends really. Like I'm someone who like I love competing, I love training, and I like the life I do. So if it was a case where like let's say coaching got to a point where all my clients were absolutely killing it, I had like plenty of clients on stage every single year, and that was looking what was better for me than competing. I wouldn't sack off competing, but I'd probably put it on a back burner.
Yeah.
Like because I'm like, well, this is what's working really well. And it almost takes that one sense of pressure away. Because I think to be a very good competitor, you need to put everything into it. To put a very good coach into put everything. And competing is not going to be forever, but coaching could be for a lot longer.
Yeah. Mate, 100%.
So I like to think long term, and it's like you always probably know it's a very nice feeling when you get like a nice transformation done with a client and they feel fucking wicked. There's no better feeling. I'd love to be able to go through that sort of process, but with someone at the back end, it's not just I've finished a mini cut, I've finished this diet, I've competed on stage, and I want to show. That'd be fucking wicked, man. Being able to do that for someone, I think is something which I really can't wait to do, and hopefully over the next year or two that'll be the case. Is I'm more excited to win a show for a client than I am for myself.
I feel that, man. I've always I remember I was dieting my final week of like the pre-prep diet, and I got more excited for one of my clients, Jordan, finishing up his diet than I did about me
Yeah.
finishing my diet, because he'd been dieting for like, I think on and off for like 3 years or something. Do you remember,
Yeah.
Luke, how long it's been with Jordan from Charge?
Oh yeah, it's been a good while. Yeah,
Because he dropped
crazy
like,
amount.
yeah, he dropped like 40, 50 kilos, something ridiculous over years. So that's not entirely with me, by the way, but it was very, very exciting to see that happen. So I can relate to
Yeah.
that mindset of being more excited for your client's progress.
I
We are,
always get excited around this sort of time of the year because you've got clients who are like dieting for holidays, and it's like in the last
oh
like 2, 3 weeks, I've had like 4 clients finish their diets. I'm like, this is so cool, man.
yeah, yeah, mate. It's such a satisfying feeling. Like when as much as like whenever you see your own progress, you're like, yeah, this is cool. It's like you spend more time coaching and you're talking to those people. There's such a higher level of emotional investment. Sometimes I feel like we
Yeah.
probably get more excited than some clients do about their own progress.
100%. I genuinely feel like sometimes I want my clients to make progress more than they do. I'm
Yeah.
like, mate, please get your food and fucking train hard, please, because you look really good, but you could look so much better, please.
You're like begging them. I'll give you a refund, bro, please.
Please, I'll pay you. I'll pay you. Just put an extra 10 kilos on, please.
I'm aware that we're starting to run a little bit out of time, so we've got some rapid fire questions. I've got a couple, but
Rapid fire, fucking do it.
I've been talking all fucking podcast. So, Luke, mate, do you have any questions that you wanted to rattle through, mate? If his Wi-Fi holds
I'm
on.
entirely unprepared for this.
That's calm, bro. I can rattle some off. Do not worry. First one is one piece of advice that you'd give to yourself when you were younger. Try and keep it rapid fire, mate.
Are we talking gym?
Anything.
We're talking training. Chill the fuck out. Have fun. When you're young, like you can get like any mistake you make doesn't really mean anything. But again, at that age, like let's say you're 14, 15, 16, you're the oldest you're ever going to be. So you don't know any different. But within, especially like your teenage years, there's not really much you can really do unless we're talking like criminal stuff, which is going to mess your whole life up forever. So it's like, chill the fuck out, have some fun. And if you know what you want to do long term, if you know what you want to do that's going to be productive, do it. If you don't stress, just enjoy yourself. When it times back to the gym, have fun, go into the gym, get strong, eat your food. Don't be worried about tracking every single macronutrient. If you can get your protein in, sound, but then just have a fucking kebab, have a pizza, get your food in, nail, grow, do the same again tomorrow.
Brilliant, mate. Hello, and welcome back to part 2 of episode number, I don't know, Luke keeps counting, that's like 77 or something crazy. We're back with JJ. We're going to do some Q&A. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the question that you guys have sent us on Instagram. And yeah, we're treated to him once again. So how have you been, mate, in the past 24 hours?
Oh my God, it's been a mental 24 hours. No, really good. Busy, but it's lovely being busy, and it's something which I think in the moment you almost like shit yourself. You're like, oh my God, I've got so much to do. I've got this to do. I've got that to do. But then you got to take it as a blessing in the sense of like, it's nicer to be busy than not to be busy. So if you can embrace it, suck it up, crack on. Before you know it, you'll be better at being busy. I always say that. It's like whenever you get more busy than you've ever been, it's a bit overwhelming. And then you learn to deal with it better day by day, week by week. And then before you know it, you're still just as busy, if not busier, but you feel less busy because you're better handling it better.
100%, man. I think, well, when you're a coach, you want to be busy. Like, you don't
100%.
be sat around doing nothing, because that's when that's concerning for your business.
Like, yeah,
you should be busy.
100%. 100%. Like, I think obviously, you don't get wrong with coaching. You need to go out and find work. You need to go out and like push this, push that. But then if you can get to a point where work is finding you, it's wicked. Yeah. Like if you like, let's say if you push coaching on your story or something like that, coach application, you get a few inquiries, that's wicked. But then if it gets to a point where you're getting them naturally without even having to push things, I had a few today and I was like, that's sick. Like I was like, because someone sent me like my application just goes straight through WhatsApp now, and I had someone like inquire, and I was like, "Oh, when did I post the thing?" I don't think 99% sure I haven't posted one today.
Mate, that's always the best feeling, though. I literally
I was like, "Sick."
Mate, I woke up to one this morning. It was like 2 a.m. from Chile. And it was like the pre-written message that I'd made in the WhatsApp link that was like, "Can you tell me more about coaching?" I was like, "Sick, cool."
What was his name?
It was, I think it began with an R. No, it was an S. Salva.
Yes, I know Salva.
Do you know him?
Yeah, he applied to me like a week ago.
Oh dear.
So, how you doing, mate? You okay? Yeah, I'm not too sure. Well, apparently, mate, I take it he's not signing up with me. He told me he'd just sign up on the 19th. Turns out he's not. Cheers, mate.
Well, it's just a, can you tell me more about your coaching, which is what my thing
is.
Yeah,
like he said to me, he's going to sign up on the 19th.
Well, maybe he thinks I'm you, mate.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, Damn, cheers, buddy. You only told me you're not going to sign up with me. I'd have been planned.
I've baited him out there. I baited him out.
Yeah.
Now I need to ask how much you charge and charge like £5 less. And then
No,
bang.
no, literally, just like, you know, when it's like you go to a supermarket and it's like, oh, this is like under £5 and it's £4.99.
Yeah. I'll do like an Audi price match, the Josh Jenkins price match. Oh mate, fucking hell.
That's brilliant.
Oh shit. Luke says that he is coming eventually. Fucking hell.
He says join him.
Yeah. And
he said he has a certain word which I am not going to repeat.
Yeah, I was literally about to say he said a naughty word.
Yeah, that word was tall. Sorry, Luke.
Tall. I guess we'll dive into. Oh wait, there he is. Well, hey,
Luke.
We're live, mate. We're recording already.
He's back finally.
Welcome.
There you go. Lactic lateness, Luke. Is in.
Fashionably late, we'll call it that.
Yeah, the trio are here. He just arriving with a grand entrance, building up hype. So
yeah, man, basically like the Olympics.
Like the Olympic, yeah, like the fucking last part of the torch race, innit?
Am I the only person who doesn't care about the Olympics?
No, I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna lie, sorry.
No, mate, I also
Everyone's
don't care.
raving about it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, oh my god, the 100 meters. I was like, yeah, but it's like what, 10 to 15 seconds, and it's done.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like
that's like my sex life.
I was waiting for someone to say that. I didn't want to be the childish one.
Mate, it's the only.
No, I can't make that joke. I don't even have a sex life at the moment.
Oh, damn, bro.
Sad times. Sad times. Yeah, all feel bad for me now.
Mate, that's where you get the client meetups going. You know what I mean? The Jack Piad approach.
Oh wow.
I've taken the joke even further. Let's go.
No, there's definitely a few coaches which go into that category.
Oh mate, it's horrendous. Some of the coaching stories I've heard are fucking horrendous.
Yeah, I've heard one or two recently.
Yeah,
I'm just like, oh, fucking hell.
Yeah,
this sounds like post-podcast gossip.
Oh, yeah, we could have some. Yeah, we.
Oh,
yeah,
mate, go on.
Yeah.
Speaking of coaches or coaching people, I've got a question I'm very keen to ask you.
Yes.
Name 3 people that you would never coach.
LacticAddictLuke.
Yeah.
I
was like,
he's going to deserve this.
I was like,
he's
gonna
late all the time. You'll miss check-ins. 3 people I'd never coach. Is this like specific individual people or just types of people?
Nah, specific individuals. He's thinking long and hard about this.
I'm thinking. Nothing comes to my head. Can I do types of people?
Go on then.
Because I feel like I actually can't think of anyone specific, and if I did, it would be like just a childish reason. Oh, because I don't like you or something like that. Types of people, which I actually think you probably shouldn't coach as well. But not shouldn't be. It's more difficult. Like if you're in a relationship with someone, I think that could cross over a bit more. That's not, by the way, that's not like personal experience. I'm just saying that so I would never.
Is that if they're in a relationship that's not a bodybuilding relationship, they're just like a normal person, quote unquote? No,
so if it's like as in like a boyfriend girlfriend.
Oh, if you're coaching your partner.
I would never do that. I would never do. I feel like that's where things get a bit sort of messy.
It's a sticky one still.
Yeah. I think regardless, you're going to have some sort of crossover, some sort of tension in regards to even like pushing it. But especially like say diets, preps, etc. That I would never coach.
Yeah.
I think that's genuinely it. Like I know that's a really shit answer, but that's generally all
I can think of one.
Go on, we'll do one each.
I feel like we'll probably agree as we go through.
Yeah.
I would say the genetic freak that like can't stick to a plan for more than 2 weeks.
I just get jealous
because it's just so frustrating. It's like you literally have a month off and you come back to the gym for 2 weeks and you look better than me already.
Yeah.
Does that make
sense?
Mate, it's so annoying where you're like chasing a genetic freak for like a check-in, and they miss 2 check-ins and they still look sick, and you're like, fuck's sake, can you like slow down your progress just so you can like realize that there's more here? Do you know what I mean?
To be fair, someone, the type of person which I don't want to coach, but I find very difficult to coach is like, you know, when you see people and like they'll check it, they might check in every week still, but they just haven't done anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's where I'm just like, what are we actually getting out of this aside from a bit of money being transferred every month? Like, it's one of those where like I've genuinely had to say to people like, there's no point in this, because as much as, okay, yeah, you're paying me, I'm actually not doing any work, because your check-in is exactly the same as it was 3 weeks ago. Unfortunately, that is literally right. Well, you need to train, or you need to do this, you need to eat your food, you need to be consistent with this. And that's a type of person which ideally I wouldn't want to coach, because it's, again, as in terms of a business, it's the easiest money you'll ever make, because you're not really doing any work, but then you don't really learn too much from a coaching aspect from that. Like initially, I think when we all probably got started, those type of clients were like, okay, this is like a bit of a challenge. How do I get this person to be in to where I want them to be? But then some people like don't really have that, and that sounds very negative, that sounds very bad, but ultimately I think that's almost just how sort of things kind of sadly are, in the sense of like, when you work with a coach, you actually do work with them. They don't do the work for you. They prescribe you macros, nutrition plans, training plans, even PEDs, things like that, but you actually have to go out there and do those things and just follow the fucking plan, which objectively isn't actually that hard.
At the end of the day, like, you can't force somebody to change. And what I think that is whatever issue they're having right now isn't painful enough for them to do the things that you've told them to do in order to fix it. Like, it's so frustrating when it's like the same issue 3 weeks in a row, and you've given the same advice in different forms, type of things of like, okay, we can try it this way, try it that way. And
or it's even like
if it hasn't worked, if what you've suggested hasn't worked, fine, that's on you. If they haven't tried, like
what like I'll like sometimes struggle with, I think sometimes, is if there's a client who, let's say, hurts their leg or something, and they're like, I can't do this, but you can still adhere to food. And for example, if that's a client who's just dropping down in terms of body weight, the main thing we want to be looking at is your expenditure, and most specifically your nutrition. You can be like, okay, well, that gives us, if you flat out cannot train by any stretch of the imagination, you can still lose body fat.
Mate, that's exactly what Luke did when he hurt his foot. Like, just tick the boxes around it. It's really not that.
That's the thing, is that I think everyone thinks, not everyone, but some people will almost view things in the sense of, this has gone badly, therefore everything has to. It's like, no, you can still make positive strides forward even in a shit situation. And that making positive strides forward in a shit situation will put you in a better position when everything is actually pretty sound.
The type of client that I don't like to work with is the people that don't want it bad enough, where you've given them as much advice as you can under the sun, and it comes down to, you just need to take it and you just need to do something. I can make it as easy as possible for you, but at the end of the day, I can't do it for you, so you have to do it. And when those people just don't do it, and it's so small and simple, it's like, why are you here? It's really annoying.
I think you can also tie into that people who like almost don't want to trust you. And it's like, as much as like, again, I think it would be very almost like arrogant for any of us to say we know absolutely every single thing there possibly is, and we're never going to get it wrong. But if you're employing a coach to work, you're employing anyone to work for you, any sort of aspect of work or anything, like, you need to be able to put your trust into them and rely on them to do the job. So it's like, even if like as simple as, oh, I did 3 sets instead of 2, why? Like,
why? They're like, I felt like I needed more bicep, and it's like, well, why would I not give you enough volume for you to grow? Like,
and it's like, I'd much rather just stay in touch with how you are at the moment, and if in 2-3 weeks from now your biceps are fully recovered by the next time we train them, sound will add in more volume, sound will probably add them in on leg days as well. I think that's something which is difficult when it comes to coaching is like trying to keep people on track at some time.
100%, mate. It's always like I often say to those clients, like I'll be like, remember we're on the same team and we're both headed towards the same goal. And typically it is usually, I think, usually to do with training newer clients, particularly if they've never really pushed intensity before. Not that I'm, going to give someone who's new like one set of a hack squat and be like, yeah, that's your quad work. But they might say, oh, is this enough? And I'll say, look, I'm not going to give you a plan where you're not doing enough to grow. Like, what is the point? If the faster you grow, the better marketing you are for me. So I've got a financial interest in like
100%. Like you got to view it as you like the coach believe it or not, want you to do well because it can help their business.
Yeah,
the better result they get helps their business.
Yeah, if you don't believe them as a person, believe them financially. Like, even disregarding the fact that we care about our clients from a business and financial perspective, like we all have shit that we have to pay for. How do you pay for that? By getting people wham. Like, if you've got a coach, you've literally got someone whose livelihood and their ability to feed themselves and live is dependent on you getting wham. Like,
100%.
That's a powerful tool.
100%.
Oh, yes. It's kind of similar question along the coaching front that I wanted to ask is if you could coach any historical figure who isn't a bodybuilder, who would you coach and why?
I literally came up with this question.
Yeah,
the first person which springs to mind isn't a historical figure.
Oh, who is it?
Adama Traore.
Is that
the football? Like he's like ridiculously big.
Oh, is that the guy who doesn't train? Who claims he doesn't train? Yeah.
Will there be face cam on the podcast?
There will be indeed. I don't know why Luke's dipped off, but there will be.
For anyone who doesn't follow football, and apparently he doesn't train. Imagine him in a PCA show.
Yeah, his delt's fucking wham.
He's very bubbly. He's very bubbly physique. So Adama, mate, if you want to jump on board,
I'll coach you for free.
I'm not going to say I'll coach you for free. I'll probably bump the prices up for you. But I'll still coach.
Whenever anyone asks that question, my go-to is always Gandhi, just to see like how big of a change you could get out of him.
You know what? To be fair, that's a really good one because you know what you could do with his like quotes and stuff like that. Would be really good for a testimonial.
A Gandhi quote testimonial, that'd be sick.
Fantastic. Imagine that point in your story, like the WhatsApp message. This is what I'd do it for. Bang.
Fucking hell. Here's a good one. What's a common misconception that people have about you, or you think people have about you?
I'm actually not that arrogant. I think people have said like in person I'm a bit nicer. But I've definitely seen like in the last couple of months I've probably come across a bit better on social media. I think I probably used to come across a bit childish, a bit immature.
I don't think you ever came across arrogant. I remember when I first kind of like heard about you, and the same for Tom, to be fair, Tom Taylor, like a couple of years ago. I remember listening to Tom and listening to you, and I was like, oh, I can tell that you guys are like young as well as me, because there's just not a lot of I don't know, like what the right word is. Yeah, and it's like the same for like when I listen to old podcasts and me and Luke, you go, holy shit, you can hear how fucking young we are. We're just like so immature about everything.
Yeah, just trying to find your way with things, and then it's like probably pick up on phrases people say, ways of talking, things like that, and then you almost like become any version of them. So probably a misconception is that I am just me, and I'd like to say I'm actually okay. Maybe. Probably not. Everyone's right. I'm an absolute twat.
Yeah, he's a bellend. Behind the scenes, he's awful. That's why we've had him on twice.
I'm horrible.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question, is it? Like, what misconceptions you think people have of you?
Yeah, because it's almost like I feel like, what if people actually don't think I'm these things? And I don't know, but what if people think I'm worse? What if people meet me in person and think he's so much worse? I don't know. I'm going to do a question box now on my story. What's your misconception about me? Terrified now.
Put up a thing and be like, use 3 words to describe me. That's fucking scary.
Arrogant, horrible bastards. We swear on this podcast, by the way.
Yeah, bro, don't worry.
Okay, sound.
Yeah, there is no finances coming in from this pod. Dude, don't worry. There is none. We're just fishing for sponsorships by trying not to burn too many bridges every single episode.
Big sponsorships: Conte Sports, Josh 10; Trinity Lifting Apparel, Josh 10.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, you've recently. So Trinity Lifting Apparel, right? Where's that kind of come from? Because I've only seen that like obviously Conte's been around for a while. Big up Jack. Jack, please sponsor me and Luke. Anyway, with Trinity Lifting Apparel, where did that come from? Because I think you were like the first athlete.
Yeah, so I've seen a few of their things through my mates, like they just post on their stories. Oh, that looks quite cool. And then I had a message off Josh Miller Hall saying, "Hey mate, so I'm the owner of Trinity Lifting Apparel. Would you like me to send out some clothes, like a t-shirt?" And I was like, "Yeah, sick, like 100%." Because you get like the odd DM every now and then, and it's like from like some American company. You know?
Yeah.
But this was a dude. He's like I think I'd already followed him on Instagram. He competed, I think, last year, and yeah, they reached out. They sent some stuff, and again, I wasn't really expecting too much, but the quality is like, again, this isn't even just like a pointless plug, but the quality is genuinely like phenomenal. Like it's ridiculously good. And he was like, "Would love to get your feedback." Get the feedback. Then he was like, "Jump for a call." I was like, "Yeah, sound." It was like a little bit of like a sort of getting to know thing, and then they were like, "We'd like to get you on board in terms of like an athlete." And I was like, "Oh, sick, wicked!" And it's like it's quite cool because obviously it's a very new brand, but I said to Josh on the call, I was like, I genuinely do see this brand doing very, very well. Like what they want to do, how they're going about things isn't okay. We're straight at the top now, where I'm not going to name any of the brands, where this brand, where that brand, they're very much, we know where we are, but we also know where we can potentially get to. And they're going about things in a very good sort of way. But the first drop was just t-shirts, 5 t-shirts, again, really, really good. We've got a few other athletes on board. So it's me, Danny Howarth, Sam Rogers, and Jacob Tipper. We all get along really, really well. We're all good mates anyway, so it was quite nice. Especially like Danny, I've known of for a decent length of time, and now I'm just good mates with him. So that's really, really cool. There's also like a few other drops coming out. There's one drop which is inspired by me, apparently. So I'm not sure how much I can say about that. But I was very like, Josh messaged me about it the other day, and I was like, that's really like, that's actually quite nice. I said to him, I was like, this is cool, but it's more so nice that you're thinking of an athlete when you're thinking of a drop. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Basically, it's like an arrant serum.
So I was like, about to say, does it make you arrogant?
You take it, it's like bang. It is literally a PD. No, but no, like one of the actual structured drops, which I believe, I think I can chat about it because I spoke about it on YouTube and you said that was fine. Is coming out around October sort of time. So a bit more tailored towards winter sort of clothing, which I've seen like a few of the like drafts in person. I was like, this is going to be really, really good, and I genuinely think it could take off and be very, very good as well, especially within like, the UK scene. I think there's a very good niche for it at the moment, in terms of like what it's actually about and what is actually going to be coming out as well. So that's going to be very, very exciting.
Nice, man. Yeah, it's definitely cool to see the brand kind of grow from seemingly kind of not really being known at all to like bringing on a bunch of sponsored athletes, including you and Danny, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
And it's nice because it's almost like the people that are come on board, it's people who have good aspirations within the sport as well, and it goes quite nicely into the sense of Trinity's aspirations to grow, and it's like ideally we all grow at the same rate.
Yeah,
as we grow as athletes, we grow as anyone sort of else. The brand grows, we grow, and so on and so forth.
100%. All right, Luke, you want to take?
All right, question from me then. Yeah, that's what I was doing, mate. And you started talking. Dickhead.
Your Wi-Fi is painful. Your Wi-Fi is actually fucking painful, bro. I'm gonna fucking.
There's gonna be like we should do a 1v1. Luke's Wi-Fi versus Tom's yesterday.
Oh mate, horrendous. Fucking horrendous. Honestly.
The best thing is that they'd be trying to punch each other and keep missing because they're lagging.
Like 5 seconds behind, yeah, fucking
I've got
hell.
no idea. Mate, you've got to
Like
leave this in. This is
it's like
hilarious.
you know when you play like
Anyway, Josh, I was going to say, what would be your like nightmare meal plan? Like an entire day of foods that you just absolutely hate.
oh, this is a very good question. Oh, right. Are we talking like peak off season? Are we talking end of a diet?
We'll do both. Do both, mate. Fuck it. If you've got
Okay, so
two, do two.
end of a
Yeah.
diet, obviously your hunger is through the roof. So you want to make everything as nice as possible. So I'm thinking, to be fair, I know exactly what it is. It's my meal plan from the back end of prep, which is 3 meals of 1 egg, 3 grams of egg whites. That was disgusting. It was just boring. Yeah, so that's that. Peak off season, I'm going to think back to when my food was like the highest it's ever been, and what I hated at that time, which is pretty much everything.
So just food as the meal plan for.
No,
peak off season.
I'm going to go like. I'm going to say cream of rice. I generally think cream of rice for where I was at 2023, like April time, was revolting. I just drank it, and my digestion was horrendous. And I'm sorry if anyone is eating their food at the moment, but I'm going to say it. It came straight back out within about 5 minutes, and it wasn't pretty.
Cream of rice in, cream of rice out.
Literally, like,
That's
yeah,
jokes.
but in terms of, like, I think, obviously, you can go through foods you don't like, but I feel like that's just an easy way. I'm going to literally say, like,
Go on.
cream of rice, peak off season, like egg whites. I don't really digest egg whites that well anyway. Pasta, I'm not a fan of.
That's
Really.
An interesting one.
That's from like a bodybuilder.
Controversial.
Like, it will bloat me a lot. I like a good carbonara or something like that. To be fair, a Domino's peak off season.
Carbonara's grim, man.
Carbonara slaps, Luke. What is this? Where's this come from?
It's so creamy.
Exactly.
Like, it just makes me feel sick.
Yeah, but that's because you have the appetite of an actual toddler. Anything above 2k calories and you're struggling.
Really?
There was no need for that.
Yeah, Luke's appetite is notoriously
man.
terrible. Really, really bad. Like, Luke, what's a
Most
comfortable...
food I've ever eaten was 4K.
And you hated it. You were like throwing up, weren't you?
Luke, if I
3.5 was like.
if I told you my peak off season food, do you reckon you'd throw up?
Yeah, probably. Go on, give us the rundown.
260 protein, 55
That's
fat,
not that bad.
930 carb.
Oh,
Nine,
Mad.
cows on that, like 5.5.
5, 6. I wanted to die.
Yeah, that's
it wasn't enjoyable. My post-workout meal was like, I think the first time round trying it was like, I had 2 post-workout meals. So the first one I'd eat on the way home from the gym, and it was just a packet of Haribos.
Yeah, I did 5.5 and it was horrible. But I was so fat doing it. Like, as soon as food gets to like 5 or above, I'm just too fat. Like,
I feel like it gets to a point. I feel like everyone has that certain number where as soon as you're above that, your appetite is on a ticking time bomb.
Mate, 100%.
I think mine is like 4.8, 4.9. I think anything above that, like, right, you need to get the most out of everything now. You need to fucking train hard because you haven't got long left.
Yeah, I can do it.
You've literally the doctors, you said you've got 8 weeks to live. Get on with it.
Yeah,
live your
yeah, like 4.5, high 4s is pushing comfortable. As soon as it gets above then, like that's when you're at the high 4s and you check in with your coach, that's when you're like, please don't add any more food. Up to
I remember
take it or leave it.
there was a time, and it was when I was being coached by Reese. I think it was 2022. Yeah, it was 2022 or like start of 2023. And I had my check-in back. I was already like 2 meals deep. And he was like, yeah, we're going to add 50 carb. And I was like,
no, you're not.
And I was like, I was going to add those carbs into my first 2 meals.
Yeah.
And I was like, motherfucker. So I had to add them in like post-workout. And I was there, like, just like, this was like when I was training quite late in the day as well. And I was like sloped over like my bowl or something. Let's say, for example, this Tupperware is my massive bowl of cereal. Just like this, borderline crying. It was fantastic.
Mate, I remember like peak off season being sat. It was like Christmas time. I think it was like the day after Christmas, so my appetite was already a little bit fucked. I remember being sat there at my girlfriend's house, like
Good. If your appetite is good after Christmas, you've not had Christmas.
true to be fair. And I literally like I got like
Sounds like binge eating to me.
but I literally like I brought like a convenience meal. I bought like packet rice and tin tuna, and I remember literally just scoffing it with like mayo and just like trying to keep it down and trying not to alert her family to me like throwing up.
That, to be fair, that is my worst like meal plan. Anything with fish, especially tuna. To be fair, I've had scampi. That was okay.
Prawns?
But normally, like, I feel like now, if I was to try it, because I'm only like about 4 weeks after a diet, I'd be all right. But usually any sort of fish, like, you know, when you go like fishing or something, that smell goes through me. Like tuna will make me throw up. Like, you know, if the three of us, let's say we just trained or something like that, or whatever. Let's say we're eating a meal or something like a Starbucks or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of you pulls out tuna, I'm walking away.
Yeah, no. Tuna.
Or I'm getting a coffee and I'm just smelling it.
Tuna and eggs. You never ever meal prep. You never ever meal prep.
What, together?
No,
no, mate. This is where I'm a bit of a wrong one. I don't mind like a cold omelette.
No, but reheating it is wrong.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't reheat it. Like if I'm like driving, like last year in prep, like I remember I trained early at Grafters and with Macca like 3-4 weeks out because he was doing my posing. So obviously I was situating my food a bit different. I was driving back and I was going over like the bridge from England to Wales, and I was just having like cold eggs and egg whites, and I was like, actually pretty nice.
I don't mind cold food, but
again, that's diet tax. Diet tax you can't really apply.
True, yeah. I don't mind cold food, but like tuna and eggs, I'll almost never travel with. If I've got a meal that's usually those two, either I'll swap my meal order for the day or just macro swap it.
Are you when you guys are like traveling, are you very like selective with what food you have? Let's say if like let's say you're not dieting.
No, I just take whatever I'd normally eat.
Yeah, I just take my food.
This is the thing, right? If it's like chicken and rice or beef and rice, if I'm dieting, I don't care. But if I'm in an off season, if I'm growing, I can't eat chicken and rice cold. So I will need a microwave. Granted, there's a microwave for pretty much every single service, so I'm quite lucky. But that's
just
like my
bad
rule. I can't eat cold chicken and rice. So weird.
Nah, I can eat any of my meals cold. I'm not fussed.
I think I'm just a bit weird.
The only change that I might make is like changing up carb volume. So I might like if I'm in a gaining phase and I'm literally like I can't be asked to eat, I'm just gonna stop and get a meal in quickly. Then I might bring like wraps or bagels and just like
that
instead of rice. But
like I think, and I've touched on this before. I think you almost learn those things within a diet. You learn what's going to work well, and then you're like, well, the next time a food's high, like for example, like if you're at 4,800 calories and you're struggling to get food in, you'll pick up on things when you diet to make that easier. Like I would before prep last year, I would have never like thought about just whacking in like a wrap to my chicken and rice meal. But then like when my food got high, before I obviously dieted towards the back end of May, I was like, well, my food's high, so therefore instead of a whole packet of rice, I'll have half and a wrap. It's so much easier.
Yeah.
You pick up on little things like that. Like even like honey, I never even put that in post-workout until like this year.
Oh mate, honey. I used to when I'm like in a gaining phase and I'm trying to get more fruit in, I'll just cover it in honey. Makes it go down so much easier, and it's less calories. Yeah,
like my post-workout meal was like 250 Frosties. If I was away, I'd just use an excuse to not even track the honey. I'd just glaze it on. And I actually really liked it. I remember just being in like a car park once after we had I think me, Finn and Reese had trained. And we had to like scran food before going to bowling or something. So I literally just whacked on probably like 50 grams of honey. And I had like then 5 IUs of Nova Rapid, and it was fantastic.
Nice. Mate, whenever I finish up a dieting phase, I always write down, because obviously that's where food focused is highest. I'll write down
every single place you want to binge at. Yeah.
Nah. To be fair, like I know people who do that. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? No, I don't
see the point in it, man. Because the thing is, like, that's something I learned after prep last year. Is like all these things you think are amazing, they're not really.
Nah, they're really
it's just
not.
thought. It is genuinely the thought of, which is actually quite sad. I wish it wasn't, but it is literally the thought of it. And once you get a bit more energy, you're like, oh,
You ever seen, this is such a specific example, you ever seen like Keithy West, like when he's post diet, like the way he bites into cookies and pizza, he does it all the time on YouTube. He bites in and he like shuts his eyes and he looks like he's having an incredible time.
you say, yeah.
And I
No, but
remember,
it's almost like it's like I know Jack Thorburn says it or does it whenever he tries something new. He has to close his eyes.
really?
Yeah, because you closing off a sense, aren't you?
Ah, okay.
That's why.
But I remember
I
like,
think I did it about an hour ago when I tried the orange hydroflow. I actually might have done it by accident.
mad,
I
mad
think one of this.
connoisseur of the hydroflow. But I remember like first time I had like a chocolate bar or something like after the last pre-prep diet, I shut my eyes, I really tried to enjoy it, and I was like, this is fine. Like this isn't, I wasn't like blown away by it. And that's when it kind of clicked. I was like, oh yeah, okay, it's the idea of it. And realistically, like in the past, if Tom had asked me like, oh mate, would you rather have an untrapped meal or more food, I would have been like, give me an untrapped meal, give me a pizza. Now I'm like, you know what, this cream of rice could do with a bit of honey, or I could do with a couple squares bars. And there's like, or that one bagel post workout would be so nice if it was two, and like I'd rather have that, and I get more enjoyment.
I think that's better. I genuinely think that's better though.
Oh mate,
because it's so much more. And like I think it's weird. Like whenever I've been like really hungry, like at the end of a diet or the end of prep, I don't actually crave going out for food. I crave just more of what I usually have because what I have is what I enjoy.
Mate, agreed.
And it's like, and to be fair, we can actually tie this into coaching because I'm pretty sure you two will probably say the exact same thing. Is you don't need to have the same boring 5 meals every single day. That's the most bodybuilder thing in the world. Like I spoke about it to clients today on check-ins, like because they were saying that they're really enjoying their meal plan. They didn't think they would because they eat the same things every day. I was like, well, no, that's a good thing because it's consistent, which is exactly what we want. But you're eating things which you enjoy, which is exactly what we want. Like I've genuinely got clients. I'm not going to name them because I'm not. They don't care, but I'm not going to. And they're like, I think one of their pre-workout meals is genuinely muffins and whey and dark chocolate.
Decent.
And initially, I was like, I don't really want to do this, but we'll try it.
Yeah.
They got their meal down from, instead of like half an hour, it was like 5 minutes to eat their food to the exact same macros, literally exact same.
Nice. And
they train better because they don't feel like they want to throw up. And I was like, okay, sound.
Yeah.
As much as I'd love to, I'm not going to go and get 4 blueberry muffins because I'm sound with my cream of rice.
Yeah.
But okay.
Mate, literally, end of a diet. I'll write down like all the foods that I'm craving, or like if you gave me unlimited calories, what my meal plan would look like, and I'll keep that. And then when it comes to the gaining phase, and Tom's like, "Where should I add food?" I'll be like, "Here's the template. Do with it like what you want." Because when I was dieting, I'd be like, "Oh, I've got my banoffee cream of rice. That would slap with some honey, some jam, some peanut butter, and banana." And like when I'm gaining, you just don't think like that. You just think like,
no, you don't.
You like cream of rice, whey, berries. That's it.
Yeah, I genuinely think a diet, like the better you execute a diet phase, and in a way, the more hungry you can get, the better that gaining phase is going to be, because you'll notice things that you want to do, and you notice things which deep down, even in a surplus, when your appetite isn't high, you notice things that your body actually craves and wants. And as a result of that, if you were to even just slowly titrate them in towards the back end of a push, your enjoyment of food is actually a lot higher, which is 100%. Good for even just timings. Like if we think peak off season, like when we had our food really high, like Luke on 1500 calories, like it's going to be a case. Sorry.
I asked for that, really.
I didn't even know where I was going. I completely forgot what I said. I just thought of a way to get it.
Man had no point, just an insult.
Yeah. By the way, eat food you enjoy.
Yeah.
Eat food you enjoy. That's what I'm saying. Like when you're peak volume of food, your meal timings take fucking ages. Like if you I usually have about 2.5 hours between each meal, and like peak push, I've had like a chicken and rice meal, which is literally a packet of rice and 150 chicken. And it takes like an hour to eat.
Yeah. And
then you've got an hour and a half to get some more work done, or even just to chill out. Then you go eat again. And then if you're out of those meals by 5 minutes, you're fucked.
Mate, that's why I always drop meal frequency back end of a push, always down to 4 meals.
Really?
It feels like like productivity's increased. It feels way less of a task
Okay.
to because it's just less like onslaught, like you said, because your meals take so long that when you have larger meal gaps, it makes things so much nicer. Like, yeah, you've got slightly more food on the plate. It might take you 10 minutes longer to finish, but you've got an extra hour between your meals.
Yeah.
And like
Okay.
for me, that felt so much nicer because 5 meals when my appetite is low, like you said, if you fuck a meal timing, it just feels like this constant onslaught of like I have
Yeah.
to eat again.
So I think there's positives and negatives, because you could do the opposite and go to like 6 meals per day.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
they're volume, but then if you fuck one of those 6, which is more likely because there's 6,
Yeah.
you're eating more fucked. Because imagine if you get to like 1 p.m., even on a rest day, and you've still got another 5 meals to eat, you're in the bin.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
That's absolutely disgusting. Yeah, I found that actually going to 4 because, like you say, there's more food on the plate, but I think your eat amount of extra food there is,
Yeah.
you're just as much extra hungry for it. So I think it sort of cancels out.
Yeah.
If anything, I'd say you're even more hungry for it. But
Yeah.
not like going back to what you were saying as well, Josh. Not actually, adjusting your foods as you go up and down a push is something that so many people get wrong. They're just like, yeah, I'm just going to eat like 250 grams of raw rice now because I need 200 grams of carbs. Like, are you insane?
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
Are you insane?
But it's I think we've all probably made that mistake. It's like when I first got into like tracking food and being a lot more consistent with things, that's what I thought you needed to do.
Yeah.
But then you look upon things and you're like, well, I can make so many more smarter options based on what I actually enjoy, first of all, but then what's actually going to be lesser volume. I think that's the main thing, is making your food low volume when even if you're hungry. Like, this is something I did after prep last year. I understood the fact that I was going to be hungry no matter what you gave me. You could have given me 20,000 calories, I'd still be hungry. So I was like, I need to just accept it, crack on. I'm not going to volumize my food. I'm going to just feel a bit nah. But then as a result of that, my appetite naturally, as it would do, just came back to normal.
Yeah.
I was still really hungry, and I was as hungry as I was on 2,500 calories, but I was eating 4-3.
Yeah.
So,
You have to eat more calories and make it feel like less food.
Yeah.
As you get more appetite wise. Yeah. If you want it to be at all successful, and I've learned that after having the appetite of a 2-year-old, which is obviously not ideal. Another question for you then, Josh. What do you think, you can kind of phrase it 2 ways, what do you think people get wrong about bodybuilding / like what we're just not talking about enough in the industry?
Yeah. And what's not talked about enough in industry?
Okay, so this is something which I kind of grasped a lot more before I got into bodybuilding. I remember like this thought first coming to me. It's a place it's closed down now. It was like a protein shop in Cardiff. And it was like one in like a city centre where like they had a few tubs of whey, and they always do like shakes on the go. Like, like those milkshakes places.
Yeah.
It was like protein ones. I used to go there because they were like 1,000 calories, a biscuit on a telly when they were lovely. I was like 16. And I think everyone who's not in bodybuilding maybe views it as if everyone's big, horrible, scary, really aggressive, nasty, things like that. I genuinely think it's not everyone, unfortunately, but I think within bodybuilding, people are actually a lot nicer than you think.
Oh, mate, 100%.
Like, I genuinely think like the core bodybuilding community is genuinely like the nicest there is. Obviously, there's going to be bell ends in any sort of aspect, but I think the vast majority of people, it's always big dudes as well. The bigger the dude, usually the nicer they are. It's quite funny. And then what was the other bit? Like, one thing people should know more of.
Yeah, like what's not talked about enough in the industry.
Actually, this is a bit like probably not an answer I thought I would, but I think the mental aspect of things. Because you've got to think, like, you're pushing yourself to an extreme level of composition in either end, theoretically. And that's going to play a factor in, I think, as much as people can come across on social media as whatever they want to be, that's going to play a factor where you are, even if someone comes across as the most confident person in the world, if they are peak off season, they're going to be thinking, I don't know the best. What does this person think? when they're stage conditioned, okay, they might look really lean, they might look really cool, but then we're thinking, am I actually good enough? And I think the mental aspect of things is, which is being about, I think that this can go with anything, but it's something which I think should be probably talked a bit more, because people actually do give a fuck. People actually are humans at the end of the day, believe it or not. But it is getting talked about. I just think it should be talked about more. Like, not everyone is 100% all the time.
Mate, that's a very good point. Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of people do struggle with bodybuilding is a real head fuck. Like, no matter what phase you're in, I think most.
I think everyone within bodybuilding is, to a certain level. This sounds very bad, but it sounds, everyone within bodybuilding to a certain level is a level of insecure.
Oh, mate,
But it's how to go about that. Like, without this sounds, I'm not sure how it sounds, but like the three of us are probably insecure about certain things about the way we look, the way we train, etc.
Yeah.
But the reason we do what we do is because of them.
Yeah.
But people, I think the word insecure is an overly negative word. It's just a case where the way I view it is, if you're insecure about something, you're just not happy with something and you want to make it better.
Yeah.
That's the way I think the usual term which people say it when, like, they say this person's insecure is a negative. In my opinion, it's a good thing to be insecure in certain situations, because you try to do better. I think that's the good thing of bodybuilding, is like you're always trying to do a little 1% better. And I like the fact that it's a game of delayed gratification. You're never going to wake up and because you hit your food, you're Mr. Olympia. You need to consistently do these things day in, day out. And I think that's the good thing about bodybuilding as well.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, whenever I look at my physique, I might say, it's not where I want it to be, but I know that even when I drive home and eat my next meal, I'm taking steps towards that.
100%.
And I think, you can either, everyone's going to have insecurity, it's unavoidable. There's three things you can do. You can either learn to live with it, you can just let it piss you off forever, or you can actively work on it. And I think bodybuilding is just deciding to work on it. For some people, they'd rather, if they don't enjoy bodybuilding or whatever, and they're not feeling good about their physique, maybe just accepting that, hey, this is how I look and this is how I am, and like that's good for them. But we enjoy the process of bodybuilding and we enjoy doing this, and like we get to actively work on ourselves.
I think it's also like, one thing I find like admirable is when, again, this is dependent on people's perception of themselves, but let's say if you have someone who deep down thinks, or in their head they know, quotation, because I don't believe this when people say it, that they're not the most genetically elite and they can never be a good bodybuilder, but they still do every single thing they should do to be as good as they can. I think that's impressive as well, because to be able to say to yourself, I'm never going to do this, I'm never going to do that, I'm never where I want to be. That's shit. It's not shit isn't a bad thing. It's just, it's upsetting. Like, granted, I'm probably never ever going to be Sebum. I'm never going to be Mr. Olympia, but I'm going to do everything I can to be close to there.
Yeah,
because I want to be. And I think it's a good thing when someone in their head understands those things. Again, my opinion is you don't know until you try, and that's me giving people confidence for it. But I think it's admirable if someone can think that way but still do everything they should do, because it's very easy when you're in that mindset of being overly negative, not doing these things, not eating your food, not doing this, not doing that. So I think anyone who can just make the most out of in what they think is a bad situation is a good thing, which is again what you see a lot within bodybuilding as well.
100%, man. I always like, whenever people bring up the genetics thing and they're like, oh, what's the point, because I'm not going to be Mr. Olympia. I'm like, okay, well, not being the best clearly bothers you. So clearly you want to be better. So why would you give up any form of improvement just because you can't instantly be the best? Like, it's a mindset that I can't quite grasp. Like, I know as well I'm not going to be Mr. Olympia, which does bother me to an extent, but not doing anything would be more of an issue for me, because then I'm even further from Mr. Olympia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I think, to be fair, I think what you just said then is hit the nail on the head. Like, you want, like, there's only one person every year who's going to be Mr. Olympia. You can never do. There's only one person every single year who's going to score the winning goal in the Champions League final. Yep. That's probably never going to be me or you, but you can still be the best person that you possibly can do in any sort of aspect, and that's what you should almost look to do, really.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a very weird, like, I don't know if you've ever heard Matt Strong from the Physique Collective use his like tire slashing analogy. If someone slashed your tire, you wouldn't go and slash the other three, and that's another example of that. It's like, You know, you view yourself as someone who's already got a tire slashed because you can't be the best. You're like, oh, what the fuck is the point? I'll just slash the other three. It's like, what? It's so weird. And I think people only ever do it in some circumstances. Like I always use like a money analogy in this case. Like imagine that, you know, like I don't know, you did badly on business, or you lost your job or whatever, and finances are down. You wouldn't just spend all your money and be like, "Fuck it, I'm going into debt and I'm going to max out like my credit card." You'd be like, "Okay."
Oh, mate, but I'm a bit different. When the football's on and the Euros are on, I bet get.
Start fucking gambling and shit, getting on.
Oh, we lost one. We'll put another 50 on. It'll be fine.
But like, you know, like when people hit like a financial hardship, their response is, okay, well, I need to cut back my expenses. I need to find a way to make this work for me. And everyone understands that. But when it comes to other things, for some reason, people just, especially with food, they'll be like, oh, just fuck it, throw it out the window. Like, it's all or nothing, and I can't have it all, so I guess I'll have nothing. Like,
yeah.
What is the point?
It's a shame. Like, you can still, like, I think there's an analogy I use, and it probably links to something else. It probably sounds better when someone else says it. But I always say, every single day you have the potential to be 100%.
Yeah.
But do you have the potential to be 100%? Not everyone does know. So let's say in a week you have 700%.
Yeah.
That you could potentially be. You can't do more. But if you're not used to doing that, you might be 100% for 3 days. On the money, bang on, every single step, every second of cardio, every single macro, nailed to an absolute T. But then you might burn out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're 0% for the next 4. You've got 300%.
Yeah.
But if you're 50% every single day, you're 350. And then from there, it's so much easier to go 55%, 60, 70, 80, 90. Before you know it, you're at 100, you're at 700%. You're making the most progress you ever have because you started off, not with baby steps, but you started off doing what you're more than content and happy with. And then as a result of that, you can build on that. For example, that might be tracking your calories and nothing else. That might be tracking your calories and your protein. That might be prioritizing carbohydrates pre and post workout. That might be making sure that you know where your carbohydrates are consistently. That might be then bringing down your fat to allow for better digestion. As a result of that, you then have more fats on a rest day. You then go through calorie cycling. As a result of that, you're in the best position you ever have been because you started off where you're actually comfortable with and you're not just buying into what you need to do straight away.
Yeah, mate, 100%. Like, yeah, I always say to people, if you're going to be, you know, doing bodybuilding or any form of lifting, like you're going to be doing this for decades. So settle into something that you can hold for decades because you're going to be in this for a long time. If you can only do this for a few months, or even if you can only do it for a year, that's not good enough. If you can be 100% for a year, that's not good enough. So if being 100% is going to mean that you drop off after a year, stop, like pull back, build up into it. And I think it's very easy to people to compare themselves, even to us, like people who've been training for like grand scheme of bodybuilding, not that long, but compared to a normal person, quite a while. And like we probably do and track things and have habits that to other people is alien, like following a meal plan, tracking salt, tracking fluid. Like,
yeah, I was exactly going to say tracking salts and fluid.
Yeah.
Like now that like in the last couple of like I think maybe since like midpoint of prep last year, I've tracked how much salt I have with each meal. I'm assessing how much fluid I drink naturally, and if I'm drinking more fluid, I'm increasing my salt per meal by even half a gram. Like I literally have minute like drug scales just for my salt.
Yeah, same.
I would never have done that 2 years ago, but then now I'm like I don't know any different. Like now I literally I write out my foods on like a sheet of paper because I can't be asked to get my phone out. I've got a gram of salt with my next 2 meals. Yep. My last meal, I've got 3 grams of salt.
Calm. Man's on it.
Yeah. It's like, that's just based on what those foods are.
Yeah.
Because for me, as long as it adds up, I don't really care.
Yeah.
But that's almost like I would never have thought that years ago. But then if you told me to do that 2 years ago, I would have been like, what the fuck?
Mate, 100%. My first ever push-up, my first ever bulk, off-season, whatever you want to call it, I remember I messaged my coach at the time and I was like, what do you want me to do with carbs and fats? And he was like, don't even worry about it. Just do protein and calories. Like that was how I started, was literally just like hit this protein, hit these calories. And then it was, okay, let's think about complete versus incomplete protein. And then it was, okay, let's think about carbohydrates. And it was like, okay, let's think about fats. And then, okay, let's think about meal timing. And then, okay, let's try a meal plan. And like, it was a development.
It's walking before you can run.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's something which is under thought because I think a lot of people think I need to do everything straight away.
Yeah.
When in reality, You need to do everything when you're ready.
Yeah.
And I think that's something which I think people forget about.
Yeah. I think as well, because if you've worked your way up, like if I have a really, really busy day, I've got no qualms with tracking macros, but
Yeah.
a lot of body, like say if I'm like, I don't have time to cook, I know what foods to go for and I know what to do. Like
Yeah.
if there is genuinely no other option, I can prioritize and be like, okay, well, do I
Listen,
cook?
I feel like I've gone backwards. I hate tracking macros.
Oh mate, same. I'm not gonna lie.
Like I remember after prep I think after prep resets me, he's like, just track macros for the next few days. Here's your macro target. So I was like,
Yeah,
I made a meal.
That's so
Wait,
good.
that let's say that was 7:30 a.m. after I checked in. 8 a.m. I had my meal plan sorted. I stuck to that. I was like, I don't like thinking. Like I want to know the only bit of thinking I allow myself to do is, what am I seasoning my chicken and rice with? What way am I having, and what cream of rice am I having? Aside from that, I know everything.
For me,
that's how I like to.
Yeah, for me it's sauces and veg. Like the total veg amount stays the same, and the sauces that I'll have stay the same, but I might move them around meal to meal, and I might move sauces meal to meal. But that's literally it.
Are we going to do before we finish? Are we going to do like a top 10 veg, top 10 fruit, or a top 5?
All right, we'll do a top 5 and then we'll wrap it up because we've only got like 2 minutes left.
Let's do fruit, veg, and then sauces or
Right.
seasoning. Yeah,
You
sauces.
go first, mate.
Right, top 5 fruits. I'd say raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, banana.
Mm-hmm.
And then, even though I haven't had them for years, I want to have them. Glazed cherries.
Valid. On my days, mate, we have under a minute left. I'm not gonna lie. Right, we're
Right,
gonna wrap things up.
Green beans because they digest really well. Baby corn because it's fucking elite. And Danny Howarth, if you're watching this, probably not. You might not be, but if you are, I'm not weird for having just baby corn. Broccoli. I'm not gonna put potatoes in there. That's all I eat.
Well, all right, mate. Thanks for coming on the pod. Where can people find you?
Rapidly. JoshJenkins.1. Yeah, don't go to my TikTok. I hate TikTok.
All right, mate. We actually got in an outro. Thank you so much for coming on.
Genuinely, thank you. This was absolutely wicked. This is brilliant. Thank you very much.
Mate, thank you for your time. Much love, mate. Until the next one.
Right. Thank you very much. I'll catch you guys in a bit. Bye-bye.
Bye, Josh, mate. See ya.